Okay, so I changed my mind. Instead of doing just a little book, I decided to get into a very different one. This one is Homesteading from Scratch. And I really like this book because there's a lot of really good, different information in it. Covers some topics that you kind of have to search for. The back of it. This is building your self-sufficient homestead, start to finish. From exploring individual homesteading goals to farming land, animal husbandry, bread making, food preservation, homeschooling, community building, and even macrame. Yes, macrame. Jones marries the homesteading dream to sound practicality. For those that feel the call of self-sufficiency in this modern day, it's simply the right book at the right time. Chris McLaughlin, modern homesteader and author of A Garden to Die For and Vertical Vegetable Gardening, a practical and inspiring guide for anyone striving for a more self-sufficient lifestyle. Abigail Gearing, editor of Back to Basics, the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Country Living, and Good Living Guide to Country Skills. For anyone who ever wanted to explore homesteading but didn't know where to start, Homesteading from Scratch will walk you through assessing your abilities and skills, determining your homesteading goals, making a farm plan, growing your own food, raising animals for food and fiber, creating a business plan, canning and fermentation, and homeschooling. Homesteading from Scratch serves as a reference as well as a cheerleader for those who want a bit more control and responsibility over where their food comes from, what they consume, and how they live their lives. Stephen Jones is a writer and a farmer with 2 decades of experience as a journalist. 5 years ago, he decided to be a homesteader and attended dozens of seminars, classes, conferences, and workshops to find out how. He currently operates a 5-acre micro farm and is the editor of From Scratch magazine. Jones resides in Chinquapin, North Carolina. And this book was published Skyhorse Publishing Incorporated in New York.
Sea salt and enjoy.
Okay.
For this recipe and more,
I don't know if I really want to.
Brought to you by Calafia Farm.
We get how uncertain the future is.
It was written in 2017.
Face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's going to happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in the dead. And feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more. Because we have an appointment with destiny.
For HGTV's Farm Home 2024, I am thrilled to announce my collaboration with HGTV Home by Sherwood. It's a curated color collection made exclusively for this home. For my design, I wanted colors to flow effortlessly from room to room. So I used the natural beauty just outside the window to create this beautiful house. Check out my curated color collection today.
Brought to you by HGTV Home by Sherwood.
I'll read the preface. Homesteading from Scratch was designed to explore homesteading with readers who have no prior homesteading experience or knowledge. This book is for people who want to do things differently. The type of people who want to eat real food, grow herbs, make cheese, raise baby animals, hunt mushrooms, pick blackberries, unschool their children, can jelly, ferment kraut, farm organically, connect to nature, live intentionally, and more. Touching on farming, animal husbandry, home production, food preparation, and even homeschooling, Homesteading from Scratch allows readers to discover homesteading as a movement and as a lifestyle. Inspired by From Scratch magazine, an online publication devoted to homesteading and intentional living, this book serves as a reference and also as a cheerleader for people who want a bit more control and responsibility over where their food comes from, the things they consume, and how they live their lives. I know it is.
I wanted to go home. I said to Laura, I think we should.
People like Catherine and Bobby
She didn't want to.
Benoit, who've been homesteading for 12 years. They produce 80% of their own food and homeschool their 7 children. Or Randall and Elizabeth Westcott Hewitt, who raise heritage pigs and cattle on their family property. There's Tiffany Toller of the Cedar Roost, who has been working to achieve her dream of creating an all-natural organic hatchery. And then there are people like Tiffany Ketchum, who's trying to turn her green thumb and vegan lifestyle into a self-sufficient dream in her backyard while working on her degree and juggling life as a full-time mother of 2 gorgeous children. Some of us, like Catherine and Bobby, who have been living a self-sufficient life for a long time. Others, like Tiffany, have just begun exploring a homesteading lifestyle and developing a basic skill set. That's what's really great about this movement. There are thousands of people who want to live a life close to the ground and would love to work with you to develop even more of a community by sharing skills, knowledge, and ideas. I'm blessed to be part of this group of people who are devoted to learning and passionate about their surroundings. When we become homesteaders, when we became homesteaders, my family and I made friends all over the world who are devoted to healing themselves, their families, and their communities through something as simple as learning to live a more intentional life through raising food, animals, and babies. Hopefully this book can serve as an aid to those people who just want to do things differently. All right.
There's a big oil drum. So we looked around and, telling the kids, oh, I used to come here when I was a kid and climb this tree. We used to go to this oil drum and bang on it as kids.
Quiet now, kids.
This used to be my special playground when I was a kid. Climb trees and send messages to the woods by banging on this oil drum.
Okay. So we're just going to get into section 1, getting started.
Back to the camp.
And
Find more on the way down.
I'm going to do a few different ones out of this. But the first part is going to be on chapter 1, what is homesteading? A working definition. Homesteading means many different things to many people. Historically speaking, the term came into use regarding the various Homestead Acts in 1862. Essentially, the term as used then described small, self-sufficient farmers and communities. Before that, the terms smallholder and yeoman farmers described similar concepts. Now, depending on who you are and where you're located, it seems homesteading can mean anything a person wants it to. There's nothing wrong with that. However, for the sake of this book, we need a definition, something to work with. For us, homesteading will refer to the lifestyle devoted to self-sufficiency with an emphasis on home production and responsible consumption. In plain English, this means people who engage in homesteading are determined to make their own way, to do whatever they can while depending on as little as possible on mass-produced items, be it food, clothes, or household goods. These are people who raise chickens in their backyard, use a sewing machine, bake their own bread, and plant a garden. Homesteaders are canners and do-it-yourselfers, fence-building, modern-day pioneers who have removed themselves from the rat race. They wear boots and jeans and love beautiful handmade things. They enjoy good music, good food, and good books. Why should you homestead?
So, something like that, but it was beyond my capability of my vocal cords. It was very deep. It was resonating. We were all together and we all had the same reaction at the same time. It was very obvious. It was very clear, and it was right there. So it all caught us all off guard. We all just froze and looked around trying to figure out what was going on. Jumped straight in the air and stomped my feet down just to try to replicate it, to stomp down as hard as I could. And
I'll add this one to it.
Remotely close to what we thought.
If you like those things, you might want to consider homesteading, but be aware this lifestyle is difficult. It's a lifestyle devoted to doing things the hard way. In fact, it's almost a badge of honor among homesteaders to see who can find the hardest way to do something. Instead of buying milk, a homesteader would rather milk a goat. But since it's cruel to have less than 2 goats, you decide to get 2 goats. Those 2 goats must be bred regularly, and you'll work really hard to find a buck, a male goat. Then you'll decide to buy a buck. Then you'll breed your 2 does. A doe is a female goat. Those does will produce 2 kids each, and you'll find yourself unable to part with the babies, as baby goats are possibly the most adorable creatures in the world. So now you have a herd of goats, 7 total, and you spend hours a day milking, feeding, providing medical care, and more to your goats. It costs you about $300 a month to just buy food for the animals. Not to mention a good milking goat can run you about $300. But now you don't have to spend $4 on a gallon of milk, as you get about half a gallon of milk a day from the 2 mature milking goats. Essentially, if you're a person who is more interested in the journey than the destination, then homesteading is probably for you. I'm going to go ahead and stop on that one. And I'm going to make several little videos out of quite a few of these. So there's going to be a lot for you guys out of this book, and a lot of information, a lot of pictures. Show you guys the picture of the baby goat. With the goat.
After this series of events,
Can't really see it very well.
Hearing that, just
there you go. There's that. And this is, just so you, this is the book that it's out of. Probably use that for the picture, but anyway, I will go ahead and get that up there, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.